Anna never thought one decision could change her entire life. She was pregnant, abandoned, and terrified of the future. But the day a millionaire offered her an unusual agreement to care for his little girl as if she were her own, her story took a turn she could never have imagined. That agreement would change everything. And before I tell you what happened, take a moment to subscribe to this channel. Stories like this remind us how one choice, one act of kindness, can rewrite a destiny. You won't want to miss the next one. Anna's life had not been kind to her. At 27 years old, she lived in a cramped apartment with peeling paint, flickering lights, and a heater that worked only when it wanted to. Her world was already heavy, but pregnancy made it heavier. 6 months along, with her belly round and her heart aching, she felt as if she was walking a tightrope with no net beneath her. The father of her child had abandoned her the moment responsibility became real. His promises had vanished into thin air, leaving Anna to face her future alone. She worked small jobs when she could, but her exhaustion grew as her belly did. Bills piled up on the kitchen counter. An eviction notice taped cruelly to the fridge reminded her every day that time was running out. Still, at night she whispered to the life inside her. With one hand resting on her belly, she said softly, "I don't know how, but I'll find a way. I'll give you a chance. I promise, but promises are easier spoken than kept." One cold evening, rain battered the streets, and Anna pulled her thin jacket tighter around her. She clutched her last coins in her fist, enough for bread and milk, and headed to the corner store. She walked back under a broken streetlight, her shoes splashing in the puddles. That was when a sleek black car slowed to a stop beside her. Its tinted window rolled down, and inside sat a man she recognized instantly. Mr. Donovan. His name was one spoken with respect and even envy. A self-made millionaire, owner of companies and estates, a widower known both for his sharp business mind and for quiet acts of charity. But tonight his eyes did not look powerful. They looked weary. Anna froze. Why would a man like him stop for a woman like her? Then he spoke, his voice calm but carrying something fragile. "I've noticed you," he said. "I've seen you walking these streets. I've seen you share food with others, even when you barely have enough for yourself." Anna felt her cheeks burn. She hadn't realized anyone noticed. And then his words cut through the night like lightning. "My daughter needs someone like you. She lost her mother 2 years ago. I can give her everything money can buy, but I cannot give her the warmth she lost. I need someone with a mother's heart. I can give you a home, security, and medical care for your pregnancy. All I ask is that you care for my daughter. Love her as if she were your own." Anna's breath caught. This wasn't just a job offer. It was an agreement that could change two children's lives, his daughters and her unborn babies. That night she lay awake in her apartment, his words echoing in her mind. Could she trust him? Could she step into a world so far from her own? Fear pressed down on her chest, but so did hope. And when her baby kicked, she remembered her promise. She had to find a way. The next morning she accepted. Donovan's mansion was like stepping into another world. Marble floors shone beneath crystal chandeliers. Long hallways seemed to stretch endlessly. Staff moved about quietly, casting suspicious glances at her. But in the midst of all that grandeur was a little girl, Lily. She was 5 years old, small and delicate, with brown eyes that carried sorrow far too heavy for her age. She clutched a worn, stuffed bunny in her arms, her only comfort. When Anna knelt down and introduced herself, Lily didn't speak. She simply stepped forward and wrapped her arms around Anna's leg. In that silent embrace, Anna knew this wasn't just work. This was destiny calling her to love. Days became weeks, and slowly, Anna and Lily began to heal together. Anna read bedtime stories until Lily drifted into sleep, her little hand gripping Anna's sleeve. She taught Lily how to bake cookies, filling the kitchen with laughter that hadn't been heard since Mrs. Donovan's passing. And then one night, as Anna kissed her forehead, Lily whispered a single word. Mama. Anna's eyes filled with tears. She wasn't trying to replace Lily's mother, but in that moment, she realized she had become one again, not just for her unborn child, but for this little girl who desperately needed love. Lily's nightmares came less often. Her laughter grew louder. She even began to play the piano again, her tiny fingers stumbling over the keys to the lullabies her mother once taught her. And every time she looked at Anna, her eyes carried hope instead of emptiness. But love, once it blooms, always attracts the eyes of those who envy it. Mr. Donovan's wealthy relatives did not trust Anna. At a family dinner, their whispers pricked her ears. She's using her pregnancy to secure her place here, one sneered. Another muttered, she's nothing but an opportunist. Shame burned through Anna. She felt like an intruder in a world where she didn't belong. That night she considered packing her bags. But when she tucked Lily into bed, the little girl clung to her hand and whispered, "Don't leave me too." Anna's heart shattered. She realized she wasn't just fighting for herself anymore. She was fighting for Lily. And it was then Donovan revealed a truth that silenced every doubt. In the library, he sat beside her as she stared at the fire. His voice was low, steady. "Anna, do you know what my wife's last words to me were? She told me, find someone with a mother's heart, not a millionaire's ambition. That's why I asked you. I've seen how you love Lily. You are what she hoped I would find." Anna wept openly. For the first time, she felt not like a guest in his world, but someone chosen, not for money but for love. Months passed, the mansion filled with warmth and laughter again. And then, one spring night, Anna went into labor. Mr. Donovan rushed her to the hospital himself, holding her hand tightly as pain racked her body. Hours later, her cries were replaced with the cries of her newborn son. When Lily peeked into the hospital room, she gasped at the sight of the tiny baby swaddled in Anna's arms. "Can I be his sister?" she asked softly. Anna smiled through her tears. "You already are." Lily climbed onto the bed, gently resting her hand on the baby's head, as if sealing a promise. Donovan, watching them, felt a peace he hadn't known in years. This wasn't just an agreement anymore. This was family. Weeks later in the garden, Mr. Donovan gathered his courage. "Anna," he said, "I asked you to care for Lily. What I didn't expect was that you would heal me too. I don't want you here as a caretaker. I want you here as my partner." As my wife, Anna's breath caught. She looked at Lily, who clasped her hands together in hope. She looked at her son, safe in her arms. And then she looked at Miss Donovan, a man who had given her not just stability, but dignity, purpose, and love. "Yes," she whispered, tears streaming. "Yes." The mansion erupted with joy. Lily leapt into Anna's arms. Mr. Donovan kissed her forehead, and in that moment, the paper agreement they had once made dissolved into something stronger. The bond of love. Anna's life had begun with fear, abandonment, and struggle, but her decision to say yes to one unusual agreement had rewritten her destiny. She had gained not only shelter, not only security, but a true family. Because sometimes the greatest agreements are not written on paper. They are written in love. And if this story touched your heart, don't leave without subscribing to this channel. Share this video with someone who needs hope, someone who believes their life is too broken to be rebuilt. Because as Anna's story shows us, love has the power to change everything.